think Shroud of Seasons actually helps for this next mob.
Yeah, he does fire-based nuke.
Throw out Mage DS too if you want.
If the Bard got pop 4, probably play that. Or the Elemental Chorus one or whatever. Some kind of fire resist.
Elemental Chorus is good. That's that good shit right there.
I'll get you pop 4 after this raid. I'll send it to you. The boss is next. How's mana look?
Casters are about average 80.
Group 2, everyone's full except for the Bard.
Go in like a minute or something.
This is the one we would run out.
You're supposed to be in line of sight at every 10% interval, or it's going to summon you in. And then during that 10% interval, there's like a timed nuke that you can dodge if you go out of line of sight. But, I mean, just everybody sit in line of sight, and we'll see how it goes. It pops like some fire elementals that we got to kill. I think there's traps here, maybe? Alright. I'm hot and cynic. It's go time. Yeah, that was that 10% summon I was talking about. Now you're supposed to like hide, and I don't know. It's not even worth
Spirit
it.
up.
Just punch the mob. G healer spam G heal. You gonna stick around for well, Tov?
Yeah, dude, I gotta stream like another hour, 45 minutes, dude. I need content.
I'm done after the well. You're gonna have to find something.
Oh, fuck, man. Generals is up? We can do that? Question mark?
I'll do that right now if you want, instead of the well. Just gotta port your channel up.
I don't really care what we do. I don't have a preference.
Yeah, they're both pretty solid loot.
That fire Ellie ate him a beast lord.
Probably easier to just do the well.
High Chief killed his ass. Low HP'd him. Resin him. Link the fats.
Hope we got a robe. Oh, dude, we got a robe.
Very nice.
Alright, Blackguard, you gotta win the roll on that, dude.
Does anyone need the rope?
Dude, that's iconic monk robe. To show that you are a true monk gamer.
Yeah, Spiff, you cool with passing that to Black?
Oh.
Make him do a dance off.
Make them duel for it.
Do you remember when that robe first dropped for Ethereum?
Not really.
Fucking Ilianger won it over Renshu and fucking Wrench threw a hissy fit for like 3 fucking weeks.
Bracers out. Roll for bracer. Tarhelion bracer to 1,000.
It's just it was a insane monk item at the time, and casters kind of
Verhal,
got
you can roll. Corian, you can roll.
roll for that wrist, boys.
Go, go, go. I think everybody got something, so okay, Verhal's good. Corian? Corian, can I give you the
Is this the same Mark of the Tribes as the other ones?
Yeah.
There's nothing special about it.
Nope.
It's the flag from finishing Eternal Well that does it, right?
One person gets to turn this ring in during or after the well, and now you have Mark of the Well.
Congrats on the fats, dudes. Somebody loot that ring, and I'm jumping in.
Yeah, loot that shit. Blackguard, take the robe. Corian's taking bracer. Hiso, take that. Yeah, I'm fine. Well, yeah, New Ender can take the ring. We get a bunch on our normal raid, so fine. Get that looted quick so we can go.
Yeah, just decide beforehand, because if I remember right, the turn-in mob doesn't stay up very long.
Does Thorheim have a ring?
Yeah,
Mark?
I got one.
Alright, you're getting it, bro. Congrats. It's just like a welt. It's a flag to like skip past shit in this zone.
Yeah,
But you still have to have some percentage of your raid flagged or some shit.
Do your best to live through this no matter what. Don't try not to let anyone die so they get the flag. Can people see Cynic or is he invisible?
It's in there,
I
but
see
not
it.
Eki.
I see both.
IQ refreshing. Best to live through this no matter what. 17 ends. Try not to let anyone die so they get the flag. Who are we missing?
Oh, it was a slow zone.
Can people see Cynic or is he
Corian.
invisible?
It's
Gotta
in
jump
there,
I
but
see
not
it.
Eki.
big fire pit
I see
there.
both.
IQ refreshing.
Or is it Korean?
Best to live through this no matter what. 17 ends. Try not to let anyone die so they get the flag. Who are we missing? Guess I should have stayed up there.
Decide early, because somebody needs to break off during that last boss and go where
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
start
Thorheim's getting
mob
it.
is now. He's got it.
He's gonna get it. Might as well give it to the leader of their guild.
Yeah, it's been years since I did this. I should remember.
You just
It's not
win, and then
there anymore.
afterwards, you have a couple of minutes to hand it in.
It didn't used to be that way, right? With the limit of one.
Alright, this dude's still not zoning in. Can you hear me?
I
Corey?
can hear you.
Type 1 in raid. There, he's zoning in. That's what we like to see. Yo, Beggar. Actually, not Beggar. You're a tank. Yo, Thorheim.
Yep.
So there's gonna be like little balls of energy on the ground. I think they're like Greycons. I think they're little fire ellies. They'll just roam around. Make sure you keep them dead.
Okay.
It's gonna be like your whole job. I'll try and call him out if I see him. You can sit on the bench with everyone else till we start here. Alright, this dude's in the zone. I'm starting it. Alright, I have no idea how to start it. Do I just hit this?
I don't remember, man.
Come talk to it on Thorheim. See if it says anything. Try to hand it your ring. Nothing?
One. Yeah, nothing.
What if you ring it?
There we go.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to hit it once. Let's just say I've never engaged the mob before. I have no idea if we need fire resist, to be honest. Probably. It's probably more useful than doing regen.
You're gonna be AFK most of the time. I remember doing this a long time ago, and it was a huge down.
Shrink your pet there, Lupino. After this round of mobs.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Ah,
Shrink your pet.
Fucking.
we're under attack.
Magma spouts. That's what I want you to hit, Thorheim. Magma spouts. Just go look all around for those. Also, if a mob's on you, just drag it to Cynic, and I'll rip it off. Yeah, Thorheim's doing it. Miso. Called Magma Spouts. They'll just spawn throughout the whole thing, so keep a lookout.
The hell is healing this thing?
True. It was healing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Kill these other fire Ellies? Maybe you gotta kill White
You
Cons
have to
first?
kill the stuff before the mob.
You're the mob. Yo, this Fire Lord even looks different. It's not even the proper texture.
Yeah, it's crinkles.
Wipe it up.
Messing with all the
He's changing the well after 35 years, dude.
probably just a side effect, honestly.
Yeah, probably, right?
This is not the same well our ancestors fought in.
The eternal well isn't so eternal, is it?
Get some. Please
yeah.
heal me.
Kill White Cons before Imps, I guess? Question mark?
I do remember kill white cons first.
I don't remember any of this shit. Just power through.
That is the only thing I remember. We always kill white cons first. I don't have any more info than that. I do remember look at me. I'm the tank now.
No, you're not. Liar.
Why is he green?
Why wouldn't he be green?
My immersion, dude.
Kill white cons.
Is he doing anything? Doesn't seem like it.
Only one I remember being bad. I don't remember which it is. There's
There's
like
one that
a
auto repos, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
I forget its name.
Dude, I thought
I think it's a Fire Ellie.
I came here to fight some epic fire lords. Instead, I'm fighting the green goblin.
Should make more events like this, but have it give XP.
That'd be cool.
How you gonna kill like 100 mobs and not get any experience?
Is that event in Icewell?
Yeah, true.
That thing gives a shit ton of XP.
Need more things like that.
Oh wait, there's epic dialogue. This game needs voice acting, dude.
Oh shit. This might be the auto repo guy? Nah, I'm hitting him.
Dart.
This is the auto repo guy. Don't attack this guy from the front. So flip it away, Alvindil.
There are a lot of getting slapped.
Flopping it onto the mage.
Yeah, dude.
I got this.
Wait, he stopped auto repo. Well, I hitting him from the front, and he wasn't repo, so.
Okay, maybe it wasn't repo then.
Okay.
Don't know how I didn't have aggro though. Punching the shit out of that guy. You should have streamed the new fight earlier, Tub.
I forgot, dude. I just woke up. I need to make a video of Lake Mob next time we do it.
It's gonna be a shit video.
I'll do it from the
You're-
monk POV.
You're just going to be running around punching coffin.
20 minutes of complete chaos.
Yeah, I'm sitting on this altar on the beach. There's a bunch of mobs spawning, but I can't go and hit them because I'm a main. And Dev Cole fucking hates me.
Oh, this is the auto repo guy. Tank it beggar. There we go.
I think it was either our last kill or the kill before the last. I had like ordered some food or whatever, and it showed up during the raid. And I started punching a coffin, and then I just went downstairs and like got my food and brought it inside. And I came back, and the coffin was still at like 30 per HP.
Is this zone just the one room, or is it bigger?
No, this is it. It's just a bunch of waves of mobs.
If you look through the wall to the northwest, you can see another room. I think this room is maybe used for the character select screen.
It is, yeah.
It's the old one, yeah.
What is that fire alley through the wall, Tub?
Probably like the
Probably the controller that spawns the mobs.
yeah, because it's not up when you first zone in. I'll turn on my no clip in my fly, and I'll go check it out, dude.
Alright, I think we got one more named or something. We're almost done. I want to say this is the last guy, but not positive.
It is. All this lore.
Dart.
Make sure you got your Mark of the Tribes ready, Thorheim. Don't let somebody snipe it.
It might be in the bank, to be honest. Let me see.
Alright, well, that's not good. Looks like New Ander's getting his Mark of the Well.
Yep.
Do you need it, Miso? You should take it if you don't have it.
Hand it in that spirit.
Let's do it,
Nerd.
New Ander. Get your
Y'all
gear
nerds about to
on.
lose that shit.
Congrats. I forget where the loot is. Oh yeah, it's on the core. Herder. Alright, congrats on loot, dudes. I'm out of here. See you another time.
Later, fellas. Good run.
I don't need anything off Dejar. Do you want me to bring something better? Oh, I'll have to bring Sock then, because you're the only Did he start the raid yet? I'm swapping over to Suck, and I'll probably have to box like Eldarian or something too. I forget. Is the first one I wish to continue? Will that get us to hail the other one to go to?
Yeah, continue on this one and click the second one and oh. Did we not click it?
Nope.
Everyone else that hasn't clicked, wait there. I'm porting us all back.
There's an ad at the entrance.
We got 2 people that need to be rezzed also before all the healers.
I'll get him.
What are ashes of a phoenix? Oh, we got another ad.
Oh, keep fucking typing.
I touched the fucking fire.
I'm not. I can't reply to people anymore while I'm doing fucking crazy. still running people over.
So we're not doing the normal way that we usually do to get to Jar, or are we?
I don't know the other way, so I guess somebody will have to let me know what the well key.
It's the exact same process. You just skip the demon and go straight to the guy that ports you into the shop.
Well, I'm just gonna pull this. Let me see. And now I got a minute on res sickness, so I got a healer. Yeah, never mind. We've all probably got res sickness. Black, can you go pull for? I think there's like one trap and then one normal roll. Get it? I think we went a different way. Is there that trap next, Black? Hey, Julian, can you loot?
Did you say nuke or move?
Loot, like the track.
Yes, loot. Yes.
I think you're sorry. Move up. The next one is a platform rush. So everybody get ready. Come on down. I got the patrol.
Whoever's got raid league, can you send Solo Sylvie a raid invite?
Oh, he did toss it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Black, you can go pull up here. I think there's like 2 or 3 more.
Oh man, I can nuke Vistalo really hard.
How much you hitting for?
I landed a moon comet on him for a few 10%.
You fucking monster.
But hey, my own character is charmed. Let's see. Oh, it wore off too fast. That sucked.
Blackguard, pull the other one.
Poison. Archaic.
Oh, Morello's here. You got it.
Damn, dude, one nuke.
Runic.
Nuked my mage for 38% of his HP.
It's fucking OP.
Super annoying getting charmed on the mage because it just instant pops the pet.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
It used to not do that, but it used to be able to like charm enchanters, and then they could charm something else, and it was pretty fun.
That sucks.
Sounds like a lot of fun with very little room to exploit. I wonder why they changed.
Bloodlust.
I'm sure it had some weird interactions on certain things.
Blackguard tag the next one.
Favorite is when I was brand new. I was
Runic.
watching videos of Miso charming the mist lights in a misty thicket and then death touching people with them.
Oh shit.
Runic. Archaic. Poison. Archaic. Poison. Bloodlust. Bloodlust. Bloodlust.
Oh, large chest.
Runic.
We got one of those keys, don't we?
I don't have Thorim on me now. I'm playing double ringer.
Archaic.
When I get my Runic 1, I'll play Thorheim way more even on spots because I can just con. It'll be a decent group healer. Blackguard spit, please. Oh, never mind. You get it. Oh, you are.
Bloodlust. Poison.
Does Gavin need those arms?
Archaic. Bloodlust. Runic. Archaic. Runic. Archaic.
Oh, we already got the boss pulled.
Bloodlust.
Oh shit!
Archaic. Bloodlust. Runic. Poison.
I don't think his buffs were soul bound up.
Bloodlust.
That's fucking hilarious.
Archaic.
Oh, some of them were. Yeah, he's good.
Runic. Poison.
Oh shit! Did Black go PvP?
Archaic. Poison. Runic.
In my screen, every time
Archaic.
kicks, looks he's kicking Vistala right in the fucking.
Poison.
Yeah, you destroyed Saw. Yeah, you hit me with a 16,000 damage nuke.
Bloodlust.
Jesus.
Wait, Final Judgment's 16k? I thought it was like 2500.
No, he's always crits for a fucking shit ton. It's like 25k usually. That must be with all the heavy.
You get half damage on nukes in PvP, so it's probably at half damage.
Yeah, 16,192. Anyone for this shit? I'm guessing it's gonna rock Kevin. Yeah, grab the air. Hold on one sec. Oh, these are singles. Yeah, you can go. Fucking death fatigue.
Bloodlust.
Would you rather get the boss or the golem at
Bloodlust. Archaic.
Okay.
Bloodlust.
It's really not that noticeable though. No, 12 seconds, and then just give me 1 extra second to buff out. I don't think Ulian looted any of the
Hiso started looting, or somebody started looting.
okay.
I was, but they were all already looting.
Yeah, Gav, do you need Astral Force? Okay. One more sec. Alright, you want me to take a left one? Whoa.
Bloodlust.
Oh, 1 second call.
Runic. Archaic. Bloodlust.
Yeah, this one's a joke. war crying for no reason. Oh, that's advanced strat. I don't know. Fuck. I didn't even think about it, to be honest.
Runic. Archaic. Poison. Runic.
Vistala, do you need that? The bracer?
Archaic.
Just roll if you can use it like Gav too, and then I'll just see who's interested in them. Oh shit, Gav's dead. My bad. Yeah, incoming.
If we got enough people, can we go pop into IP real quick and kill those statues?
Yeah, like 20 minutes, sure.
I think there's one trash pull before that. I can confirm that though. Once.
Does anybody want this other than Gav? Anybody need a mark or this minor relic? Artifact, rather. Yeah, Verhall. Yeah, that'll go to you. Does anybody need Mark of the Tribes or the artifact?
I could use one.
All right. And then again, no one for the wrist or the earring. Gavin can use
Fist for the wrist.
Oh, okay, perfect. Oh, Vis, take the wrist then. Just take. Oh. Anyone interested in the mark? Just roll 100 real quick, please. Just roll for an 8. Anyone else? All right, Lou. And then did Gav need that earring?
So there's actually no trash pulls to either.
Nice. Well, everyone that's close to Sock is going to get ported. Which one is it? Amended amulet? Anti
For what?
for the port there?
Yeah.
Both called amended amulet. Make sure you're doing the right one.
Oh, style loot your.
Is anybody on Jayla?
I was thinking about going Jayla.
If nobody else is gonna loot that relic, take it. It's for Jayla quest.
All right, run away from me if you don't want to go to prison to help.
I already have one in the bank. Thank you for the reminder, though.
Incoming amended amulet.
Nobody's looted the Mark of the Tribes.
Oh, Vis can take it, or Spiff. Spiff, just grab it. We'll get Vis one. Don't worry, he just got some. Spiffy, grab the mark real quick. Alright, going. Thank you. Alright, porting.
So we're killing eternal statues. They're just really big golems. Looking for an eternal stone.
Yes. Okay. What are the bills that she pay for you, Mr. Apodaca?
Just car payment, that's it.
One car payment.
One car payment.
And how much was that?
I actually made 2 car payments. I also have that in my bank statements as well.
But I paid her back for that already.
You did?
Yeah, because that was income tax money. I paid her back.
Okay. But you do owe her for your cell phone.
No.
I say you owe her for your cell phone because if you have no job, you don't need a cell phone. Do you understand?
She paid it as a gift.
That's why you're here, for me to make that judgment, Mr. Apodaca. This isn't a back and forth,
Because you
sir.
can get the other
you were
one
living
by
rent-free because
yourself
you couldn't
off,
pay the rent after
tier
you
1
lost your
rate
job.
She lived rent-free in my house.
Listen to me, sir. Did you ever pay her cell phone bill?
Bought her a $500 phone.
Just,
That
did
dude
you
gets
ever pay her
sniped
cell
pretty
phone
often
bill?
because he has
Did you ever
droppable
pay
loot.
her insurance bill?
Nope.
Yeah,
Did
I've
you
been
ever
the one
make
taking
car
them down the
payments
past
for
couple
her?
times.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Just a second. The answer is either yes or no. Listen, try not to be smart with me. You may think you're smart with other people, Mr. Apodaca. I assure you that she found you attractive. I do not. So with me, you're going to play it straight down the middle. I'm going to be respectful to you. You're going to be respectful to me. Do we understand each other, sir?
Yes.
On what date did you vandalize her car?
It was February 11th, Your Honor.
Don't interrupt him. I was letting him think.
Sorry.
February 2007.
How did you vandalize her car?
I put 3 bricks through her windows and...
Shh. Excuse me?
I put 3 bricks through her windshield, her rear window, and her driver's side window, and I paintballed her car.
And you did that because you found her involved with another man?
Yeah, she's sleeping with my
Just a
friend.
second, because you found her involved with another man?
Yeah.
Yes, but you were no longer together.
Nope.
How long hadn't you been together?
About a year.
Now, Mr. Apodaca, have you ever been in therapy? Listen to me, I'm being very serious with you, and I don't want to hear anything from you people. Do you understand? If I do, I'm going to empty out the audience. Do you understand? Have you ever been in therapy?
No.
How old are you?
23.
You live at home?
Yeah.
With whom?
With my bandmates.
Okay, but you don't live with family.
No.
I'm going to suggest to you very strongly that if you want to live a happy life, you should get yourself a little therapy.
I am living happy. I'm fine.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. Perfectly fine.
Mr. Apodaca, have you ever been arrested?
Yeah.
Were you arrested, Mr. Apodaca, more than once?
Just once.
When?
A week after I paintballed her car, broke her windows.
I'm a lot older than you are. I've never been arrested. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Ever been arrested?
No, ma'am.
Is this your daughter? No. Who are you?
I'm my boyfriend's mother, Your Honor.
How old are you?
I'm 48.
Ever been arrested?
No.
See, Mr. Apodaca, there were a lot of people in this room who were a lot older than you are cumulatively.
That's them, not me.
Who've never been arrested. Now, you say you're happy and you're living a wonderful, full life.
Yep.
And I'm suggesting to you, sir, just a friendly suggestion, that anyone who, after a year of not being with someone, has as much anger as you had a year later and vandalized her car in such an aggressive manner has issues that they really should be resolving with a professional. That's my suggestion. It doesn't require an answer. I've given you my reasons. I think that that kind of hostility and aggression after a long period of time is something that should be addressed.
Christina Sanchez claims ex-boyfriend Seth Apodaca vandalized her car with bricks and a paintball gun.
Now, you had to pay a $500 deductible, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he also owes you for your cell phone bill.
And the car payments, Your Honor, he never paid me back like he said he did.
Well, I'm not sure.
I have an email right here from him that actually has me asking him why he doesn't think he has to pay me back the money, and this is dated back to September
Oh, I want to see what he
2006.
says.
It's a bit vulgar, Your Honor.
I'd like to see just what his answer is. If you say it acknowledges the debt, I'll be glad to read it.
It starts at the bottom and works its way up.
Madam, he does not acknowledge the 2 car payments. He owes you $900. $500 for the vandalism that he did on the car and $400 for the cell phone. I'm not getting involved in the stereo that you say you sold to him for $200. That's nonsense. That's all. Judge for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's psycho. She's always causing problems with me, always wanting to fight.
I thought he was a good guy, and the fact that, I thought we were going to be together.
She has my friend. She's living my old life.
But he wasn't.
It was the first time that I had, seen them together.
You can't help what happens. Like, you can't help who you love.
I got angry, knocked on the door, wanted to call him out so I could fight him.
He was there for me when Seth left, when I was pregnant.
He didn't come out, so I got angry and smashed her car windows.
I think it's just like the judge said, he needs a lot of therapy.
When someone breaks up with you, move on with your life. Don't stick around the friends.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gossett versus Roten. Step forward, please.
Drew Gossett is suing his ex-roommate, Brandon Roten, for breaking their apartment lease. Brandon says he moved out due to a legal dispute with Andrew.
Where do you gentlemen come from?
Wichita, Kansas. Wichita, Kansas as well.
Who lost their luggage? You had no clothes?
No clothes, man.
Let me see the outfit that you got yourself put together with. Not bad. Okay, Mr. Gossett, this is what your case is about. You, the defendant, and I think one other young man decided to room together. You signed a lease, and the defendant moved out 4 months prior to the lease terminating. And you have been taking care of his share of the rent for that 4-month period. The defendant says that your action
2005.
What was he arrested for?
He was arrested for possessions for sales.
Possession of drugs with
Yes.
intent to sell?
Yes.
Bail was set, and he was appointed an attorney. The defendant is the attorney who was appointed by the court to represent him.
Correct.
And your husband is currently incarcerated, is that
Yes,
right?
he is.
This is your complaint. Your complaint alleges that you posted $9,000 in bond for him, and the attorney, Mr. Enriquez, told him not to report on the adjourned date that had been fixed.
Correct.
He told him to come the next day, May 26th. And when your husband showed up May 26th, he was arrested because a warrant had been issued for his arrest on May 25th, the original date set by the court.
Yes.
You believe that Mr. Enriquez is responsible for your losing your bond because once the warrant was issued, you forfeited your bond, and you're out $9,000. And you believe that Mr. Enriquez was negligent in failing to either effectively communicate with your husband or effectively communicate with the court. Mr. Enriquez says the bail was not forfeited because of anything he did. The bail was forfeited because the bail bondsman decided that he didn't want to be responsible anymore for your husband's presence in the community. He felt that he was a flight risk. And he came to the court and said, I no longer want to ensure his appearance, so I want the bail revoked. It had nothing to do with his actions. So far, is that the case?
It's pretty close.
Okay. Your husband was arrested October 26, 2005. When was he bailed out?
He was bailed out on February the 26th of 2006.
Did it take you that long to get the money together?
Yes.
When you bailed him out on February 26th, what was the next adjourned date? Do you remember?
May the 25th of 2006.
When were you appointed to represent him, Mr. Enriquez?
1/8/06.
Now, February 26, 2006 is the date that Mr. Perry was released on bond.
Right.
After February 26th, when did you appear with him?
March the 25th of 06.
What was the next scheduled date, sir?
5/25 was the scheduled court date.
Now tell me what happened on May 25th, Miss Perry.
We was the 25th.
Tell me why.
Because he was advised by his attorney not to go to court because his attorney told him he wouldn't be able to go there because he was in trial all day that day and do not go to court. He was...
Okay. So on May 24th, Mr. Enriquez contacted you and said, I am engaged in another trial. Don't come on the 25th, come on the 26th?
Yes, that's what he said.
Mr. Enriquez, Is that correct, sir?
I didn't contact her. I contacted him.
What was the adjourn date after April 24th, sir?
June the 9th is the time that it was adjourned. The May 25th is a court date that I set myself, not the court. It's not an adjourn date. It's a motion.
Did you call the court to adjourn that motion?
Yes.
Okay. You're the bail bondsman?
Yes.
Would you step up, please? Tell me your name.
Tony Lopez?
Mr. Lopez, you were the person responsible for bailing him out.
Yes, I am.
You're also the person responsible for having the bail forfeited. Is that right?
Not really.
Well, tell me what happened.
Okay. In the month of February, we've bailed Patrick Perry for the first time.
You bailed him out in February 26th.
Yes.
Okay. What was the next court date?
Okay. Well, before that even happened, July, Mrs. Patrick Perry calls me in a panic, saying that her husband, Patrick, was running, that he's going to take off, he's gone, and that you better come put him back in jail.
In July?
In July.
July of 2005?
06.
I'm talking about May of 06, sir.
I never wrote a bond until February of 06, and July of 06, and August of 06. I don't know anything about 05.
When was bail forfeited? In what month?
The bond was actually never forfeited. They stayed the warrant on May 25th of 06. But they stayed that warrant. And then we found out they had a court date the very next day. I told my future recovery agent to go to the court date the next day to see if he would show up. He did. We surrendered the bond at that time.
On the 26th?
Yes.
Of May?
Yes.
So what are you talking to me about July of 2006? May, June, July. It comes afterwards.
Well, I'll get to that in a minute.
No, answer it now, Mr. Lopez.
Okay, I got my months mixed up. The first time we actually bailed him was in February of 06.
Right.
Okay, so then in July 25th.
Not July. It can't be July 25th.
I mean May 26th of
it's
May
amazing to me how the
25th,
criminal justice system functions at all. Mr. Lopez, listen to me carefully, sir. I'm going to ask you one question. Is what you're telling me that Miss Perry called you prior to May 25th? May, not July.
Okay, May.
I mean, by July, he was back in jail.
Right.
Right, Miss Perry?
Yes.
You did go visit him in
Yes.
June in
Yes.
jail, in
Yes.
July in jail.
Yes.
You didn't have any further conversation with Mr. Lopez in July, right?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez, you got to get your act together, sir. So, the reason that you decided not to continue his bail was because his wife told you he was going to run.
Right. That's part of the reason.
So this becomes a little more complicated. For this, we probably need a whole hour.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Lopez.
Real people, Judge Judy. Barbara Perry says due to the negligence of her husband's attorney, Armando Enriquez, she is out $9,000. Armando is countersuing for defamation of character.
If you had gone to court on May 25th and the defendant was supposed to appear, a warrant was issued, but the execution was stayed until the next day. Now, it was stayed, I assume, until the next day because his lawyer had called. Is that right?
Exactly.
Shut. Don't say exactly. Don't.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't say anything.
All right.
Mr. Lopez, did your people show up on the 26th?
Yes, they did.
Well, I assume that they showed up on the 26th, not because somebody had a crystal ball and said, well, maybe he'll show up on the 26th, but because the court had information that he was going to appear on the 26th. You following me, sir?
I follow you.
So that's why your recovery team showed up on the 26th.
That's right.
So that Mr. Rodriguez, despite the fact that he should have submitted an affidavit of actual engagement on paper, his message to the court adjourning the case to the 26th was in fact communicated to the court. Yes. Because that's why your people showed up.
Exactly.
Right? So this is my question. If the defendant had appeared on the 25th rather than the 26th, and you said to the court, we no longer want to guarantee his appearance, would the bail have been forfeited?
No, ma'am.
It would not have been forfeited.
No, ma'am.
Because he appeared.
Right.
Well, Miss Perry, it's an imperfect system. And I'm going to tell you why it's an imperfect system. Because Mr. Rodriguez did, in fact, communicate to the court that he was not going to be there, and he had told his client not to be there on the 25th. Right. Despite that fact, because the recovery team had appeared that day, and I'm sure advised the court they were looking for your husband, the court said, well, we're not going to issue a warrant for him immediately. We'll issue a warrant and stay its execution until tomorrow. because his lawyer says he's not going to be here today. Maybe he will show up tomorrow. And because there had been a warrant issued, that automatically forfeits the bail. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's an imperfect system, but it's not his fault. You know whose fault it is?
Whose?
Your husband's. Because but for the fact that you knew that your husband was going to take off, and you communicated that to the bail bondsman, because your husband was going to do the wrong thing, they came to pick him up. That's what happened. So a warrant was issued for him. Even though Mr. Enriquez did the right thing and notified the court, and even though your husband did in fact appear on the 26th, you were worried that he was going to take off, because otherwise you wouldn't have told him that he was going to take off. What, Mr. Lopez?
You almost got it right, but here's what I see, and here's basically how it went down. She called my office one day and said he was going to run. He was running, take it off. I'm following him. He's at this address right now. Go get him. So she wanted back in jail in the first place.
She wanted to secure her $9,000. I mean, is this relevant to the fact I'm dismissing this case anyway?
Okay, no, and that's what it should be. But
Why do you like
Thank you very much. Keep talking. So it's over.
Mr. Lopez,
Yeah.
Mr. Lopez, everybody's entitled to their 15 minutes of fame, sir.
She's entitled.
You've had yours. Ms. Perry, the only one at fault in this case is your husband, who you had probably a legitimate concern was going to run. He was arrested and charged and probably indicted for an A1 drug felony, faces a very, very long time in prison, and you were worried that he was going to take off with your $9,000. You notified the bail bondsman. The bail bondsman followed through, and it is not Mr. Enriquez's fault. The phone call was, in fact, communicated with the court, was communicated with the judge, who did not, in fact, issue a straight warrant for your husband, but gave him an opportunity to appear the next day because the judge knew that they were looking for him because he was going to run. Goodbye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a happy life. That's all.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, step out.
Whatever she says, that's what it is. I mean, he know his faults. I know my faults.
They just wanted to get the $9,000 that they pay for the bond, from me.
I guess Judge Judy has the last say.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Young versus Young. Step forward.
Christine Young is suing her son, Shannon Young, for missed payments on a car she helped him buy. Shannon says his mom repossessed the vehicle in question.
Mrs. Young, this is your son. And according to your complaint, he purchased a car. You co-signed for the car for him because he couldn't get the car using his own credit. There came a time he stopped making the car payments. You were forced to assume the car payments. Ultimately, you repossessed the car, took it back from him. Your former husband, his father, took over the car at some point. You want your son to be responsible for the car payments that you made between the time he stopped making the payments and the time your former husband took over making the payments. First, tell me, Miss Young, when the car was purchased.
It was March of 2003.
What kind of car was it?
A 1999 Subaru Forester.
And it was in your name, sir?
Yes.
What's your first name?
My first name is Shannon.
And Shannon, you are married?
Yes.
And you have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
I have 2 children.
Your mother co-signed for the car?
Yes.
And you made payments from March of 2003 up until when, sir?
The first payment she made was $116.05.
Why?
I didn't have the money to pay it.
Did you call her and let her know that you weren't making the payments?
She was informed, yes.
No, that's not my question.
I did let her know that if she was able to make the payment, I was sorry that she did have to make the payment, but she would be reimbursed for whatever payments that she would be making.
So did you reimburse her?
No, she took the car before I could do that.
Mr. Young, you say in your answer that you and your mother had an argument.
Yes.
During a summer. Was it the summer of 2005 or 2006? It's not so hard, sir. We're in 2006 right now.
Yeah.
Was it last month or the month before?
It's just that we're always arguing about stuff.
No, this was the argument where you and your wife decided, according to you, that she wasn't going to see her grandchildren anymore.
2005.
So after you had this argument with her and you decided she wasn't going to see her grandchildren anymore, she still made car payments for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though you weren't letting us see her grandchildren.
She was not coming by to see the grandchildren. She was there for Halloween. Thanksgiving came and went.
Just a second. I don't ask whether she called. I'm reading your answer,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Your answer said, as a result of an argument that took place last summer, it ended with my wife and I deciding that she was not to see our children, her grandchildren.
That is correct.
And all I'm saying to you is after you told her, don't tell me what she didn't do, you told her that she couldn't see her grandchildren, she still made car payments for you.
That's correct.
Why do you think she did that?
She's a co-signer on the car.
She didn't take the car away in January. She could have.
Yeah, she could have.
When did you take the car away?
I want to say April.
She didn't take the car away in February, sir. You didn't make car payment.
No, I did not.
She didn't take the car away in March.
No.
So this lady who co-signed the car because you didn't have reasonable enough credit. You were old enough to make babies, but you weren't old enough to have enough credit to buy a car on your own. So she had a co-sign for you. She had to make payments for you when you couldn't make the payments. Then you had an argument with her. You told her she couldn't see her grandchildren. She continued to make payments on the car for you and didn't take it away.
Bloodlust.
I just want to get the timeline straight. Shannon.
Yes.
Must have been a really important argument that you and your wife decided she wasn't going to see her grandchildren anymore.
Yes.
You want to tell me about it?
Why we wouldn't let her see the grandchildren anymore?
Yeah.
She's doing her best effort to involve herself with the grandchildren. She doesn't like my wife, and so she loves the grandchildren because they're her grandchildren. Now, for example, when my first son was born, I called her up from the hospital. And
How long ago was this, sir?
This was 5 years ago.
I'm not interested in 5 years ago. Tell me what happened in the
Archaic.
summer of 2005.
Well, she called me up asking
Poison.
when I would be able to make a payment for her. She asked me if I would be able to have the payment for her on
Bloodlust.
Friday. I said, no, I will not be able to have it for you on Friday. I said, I'll have it for you on Wednesday. She said, well, can you have it on Tuesday? No, I cannot have it on Tuesday. I can have it for you on Wednesday because that's when I'm getting paid. And then she starts asking me if I loved her or not. And I said,
Poison.
yes, I do love her. And then she started crying to me. And I said, you know what? You don't need to start crying.
Bloodlust.
And then she says, I am making your car payments for you because you're my son and my grandkids need something to drive around on. But it's not the car payment that is upsetting me, Shannon. She says, I know I'll get the money back from you. What's really bothering me is that I have been making your brother's payments on his carpet cleaning machine, and I have made a couple payments on your brother's Mustang. And I said, that's great that you
Bloodlust.
did do that.
Runic.
And it's sorry that you had to make my
S18.
car payment, and so it's compounding everything for you. And she did have to make the payments for her 3 sons. But I did let her know that I would pay her back for all the payments that she paid me.
So far, I'm not hearing why she can't see her grandchildren.
Bloodlust.
Because she asked me if she could come pick the grandkids up
S18.
on Monday. I said, that's fine with me, but it's really not up to me. It's a decision that me and
Bloodlust.
the children's mother need to make, my wife, Elizabeth. Elizabeth didn't think it was such a good idea at that time for her to see the grandchildren.
Why?
It's my wife's decision. She didn't think it was
Arcade.
a good idea.
S18.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Don't say anything.
Bloodlust.
Why wouldn't you put your wife in her place, sir, is my question to you. How long are you married?
I've been married for about 5 years.
You know what the divorce rate is in
S18.
this country?
I don't keep track of this.
52%. That means there's a better than 50-50 chance that 5 years from now you'll be married to somebody else. You know how many mothers you have? Oh, one. You know how many mothers you're going to have in 5 years? One. You know how many mothers you're going to have in 20 years? One. My sympathy goes out to you, madam, because he is clearly challenged.
Yes, Your Honor.
No, he's very challenged, and there is absolutely nothing that I can say to you. I mean, stupid, he's beyond stupid.
Bloodlust.
Beyond, because his wife had a problem with picking up the grandchildren. Here from a man who's just told me that his mother loved his children, went out of her way to be supportive of her 3 sons who can't get themselves arrested
Bloodlust.
because they can't pay for their own vehicles, and he decides to say to his wife, you don't want her to see the children? I'm not going to argue with you. She won't see them. Something wrong with you.
There's
Something clearly wrong with you. How many
there's nothing
car
wrong with
payments
me.
did you... Don't speak to me,
Runic.
idiot. How many car payments did you make for him?
I think there was a total of about 13 payments.
Archaic.
And what was each payment?
They ran anywhere from $250 to $195.
Would you please tell me the total amount of car payments you made?
$1,962.
Mr. Young, that's what you owe
Bloodlust.
your mother. You also owe yourself, sir, a little bit of growing up. One of these days you're going to have heartache. I guarantee you, your heartache will be if something happens to your mother, and because of your lunacy, you cut her out of your children's lives. That's all.
Fire.
Step out.
Poison.
Step out. She thinks that I'm trying to disrespect my mother. I love my mother very much.
I love him dearly. It's not about him as a person, but about the decisions that he...
In the matter of Pelisek versus Zygmuntowicz. Pice have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Belisek, the defendant and you were involved in a relationship. You lived together in his home for a period of time. You claim that while you were there, you purchased some furniture for the home, put it on your credit card.
Bloodlust.
The relationship
Poison.
didn't work out. You moved out. He kept the furniture. You're paying the bill. You want that credit card paid. Now, you have the furniture, right?
Yes.
And you're not paying the bill.
I did pay some of it.
But you're not paying it now.
No.
And you say that's all right because?
Well, Your Honor, there's a lot more to it than just the furniture issue.
You're also counterclaiming because you say she owes you for half the mortgage payment
Yes.
while she was living there.
Yes.
That's a lot of baloney.
No, Your Honor. The way this all began was last year. My sister had reintroduced us at a birthday party I had. My sister.
I don't need all that information, sir.
We got together. She was married at the time. All of a sudden, she decides she's not happy with him. She wants to get out. Originally, we were looking for a place for her to live somewhere nearby me. At the time, she called me and says, you know what, why don't I just move in with you? I'll stay there. That's all good. She moves in, proceeds that she wants to get this, get that, get this, get that. Well, I already had my house established. I've been living there for over a year, almost 2 years. I had all the stuff purchased for my home. She didn't like the bedroom set. She went and sold that, kept the money on that, bought a new bedroom set. She wanted blinds,
Just
stuff.
just a second. Let's get over this counterclaim first, because
Okay.
when I said that's a lot of baloney, I meant that's a lot of baloney. Because nowhere in your discussion with me, sir, did you say that when she moved in, she agreed to pay half your mortgage.
I forgot to mention it. She
Well,
was
yeah,
getting...
listen, if you start out with a fib, I don't believe what you say.
Well, it's
Do you
not- I
understand?
didn't give you the whole... You didn't let me finish.
Go ahead.
Okay. Part of the thing was she was getting money from her husband, plus unemployment. She said she was going to help me out with stuff. I was also buying on my credit card items, tickets, concerts.
I'm talking about rent. Let's
Okay.
get rid of the rent.
Okay.
You have a counterclaim for rent.
Yes.
I said to you that was a lot of baloney. You want to address the rent, sir.
Okay.
So far, I've heard she was getting
But she lived
alimony
her-
from her husband. She was getting unemployment. She said she would help you out.
Well, part of the deal was she...
No,
was
look at me.
Okay. Part of the deal was she was getting money. She said she was looking for a job and was going to help me out. If she's suing me for everything, then she never helped me out with anything.
That's not a contract to pay half your mortgage.
I never made a contract to pay her credit card
Just
either.
a second. I'm talking about your counterclaim, sir.
Okay.
In order to have a landlord-tenant relationship, which is what you are suggesting to me,
Okay.
because that's what it was. You may have shared it. Don't look so unhappy, please. Don't give me the sad-looking face. It doesn't impress me at all. Okay, so, you know, put the smile on the face, or just, but this sad face doesn't go far. I have no heart. Do you understand? Perfect. When you form a landlord and tenant relationship, even with somebody with whom you are sharing a bed, there has to be an agreement to pay a finite amount, so much per month, first of each month.
Okay.
There was never any.
Yes.
Now, I knew that when I read your papers.
Okay.
You were trying to convince me there was. All I'm saying to you is, I don't believe that there was ever any agreement to have a landlord and tenant relationship with the plaintiff.
No.
So your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
If, however, what you're telling... Get the sad face off, please. If what you're telling me is that when she moved in with you and you were sharing is... Get the sad face off, please.
Okay.
If, however, relationship with the plaintiff... So your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
If, however, what you're telling... Get the sad face off, please. If what you're telling me is that when she moved in with you and you were sharing a home, sharing your bedroom, sharing your bed, she said, I don't like this bedroom set. I want to get a different one. So she got rid of the old one
Yes.
and she purchased a new one.
Yes.
And she kept the money from the one that she sold.
Yes.
Wouldn't you have been smarter to say to me at the beginning, no, we didn't have an agreement as far as rent is concerned? Because now I tend to doubt that she sold the bedroom set and kept the money. Is she going to tell me she kept the money?
If she's not lying.
Let's see. Did you keep the money when you sold
I
the bedroom
applied it
set?
to the Discover credit card. It was $450, and I made the payment on my credit card.
Now, why did you get a new bedroom set? Now, look at me.
Okay.
Why did
I
you
just
get a
did
new
not like
bedroom?
the looks of the old one.
You
and
didn't.
We were planning on going to get married, and I was going to live there the rest of my life. He told me that I
You
can...
bought him a present, a new bedroom set.
He told me
Forget
I can decorate his house any way I want, and it's not a problem, and he would pay any charges that I put on my credit card that went toward the house.
Really? And what were you paying? Don't look confused. It's a very easy question. You weren't paying any rent.
Right, nothing.
He was providing you with a roof over your head, telephone, gas, electric, water, all that other stuff. My question to you, madam, is your husband was supporting you, which must have irritated the hell out of him, because here he's supporting you and you're living with somebody else. And you were getting unemployment. What were you doing with your money?
I was just paying off my bills that I currently had. I had some credit cards and just miscellaneous bills, and whenever I took the children out to do activities.
Whose children?
I have a son, Zachary, and he has a daughter, Savannah, and we would just go out and do things with that money.
Okay, so you bought a bedroom set on your credit card. You kept the money from the bedroom set that you sold. What else did you buy?
There were just many household items, new kitchen sinks. There were shower curtains, shower rugs, window blinds, just miscellaneous home items, shelving units for the basement. But it all just really added up.
And over what period of time did you purchase these things?
From the time I actually officially moved in, which was July 16th, until September 15th.
Exclusive of the bedroom set, how much did you spend?
Exclusive of that, around $3,000.
And how much did you pay towards the expenses of the house?
Nothing.
Consider it rent. You live there with a child?
Yes.
You think you can get a place to live with your child for $1,000 a month?
No.
Including gas, electric, telephone, whatever other expenses there are? You can't. Just out of curiosity. Why did you leave?
There were problems in the relationship that had developed.
I ran out of money is what it was, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Once I said I had no more... Once I had no more money, she decided to go off on her own. When I wouldn't give her cash, and she said, this isn't working out, I need to leave, and went back to her husband.
Is that where you are now?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Judge Judy. Lisa Pelisek says former live-in boyfriend, Franz Zygmuntovich, owes for several items she purchased for his home.
Oh, you have to pay this credit card, madam. It's your responsibility. You went out, you decorated. I can view this as your capital contribution to your own living expenses, yours and your child's, while you were living together. It's not unreasonable for him to assume that if you went out and bought shower curtains and some rugs for the bathroom, that you intended to do that because you were living there with your child, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to contribute. You're a grown-up lady. He's not supposed to take care of you. You're supposed to take care of yourself. Case is dismissed, as is your counterclaim, sir.
Thank you. What is our excuse? You may step out.
He agreed to support me when I was living there because I was enrolled to go to school.
Money issue was always being brought up. It was continually money.
Well, my credit card kept going up, and I had to move out before it went any higher.
She ended up back with her husband after it was all over and done with anyhow.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bayer versus Hall. Step forward, please.
Housekeeper Nita Bayer is suing former employer Kendra Hall for damages resulting from an injury she sustained in Kendra's home. Kendra is countersuing for the return of Nita's unearned wages.
Miss Bayer, according to what I read in your complaint, you did some housework for Miss Hall. You fell in her house. You want her to be responsible for your medical bills and your lost wages. Ms. Hall says she's not certain that you fell in her house and injured yourself there. She's counterclaiming because she says that she paid you for an entire month and you only worked that one day. She wants you to refund to her the amount that she paid you for the remainder of the month when you didn't work. I have a few questions. Ms. Bayer, how long did you work for Ms. Hall?
7 months.
How often did you go to her home?
Every Friday starting of March 2006.
How many hours did you spend there?
Usually I spent somewhere between 7 and 8 hours a day.
What was the date of this accident in the house?
It was November 3rd, 2006.
And she had paid you for the month?
Yes, she did.
What was your monthly salary?
It was $360. I received $90 a week.
Now tell me about this fall that you took in the house. Miss Hall was not at home.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I arrived to work and I started working in the kitchen. Then I went upstairs, stripped the beds, made the beds, and then I took all the laundry down to the laundry room, and the light bulb was burned out in the laundry room. So I went into the garage to look for a ladder, and I found a 3-foot ladder. I took down the fixture, which was full of bugs and dirty. I washed it, cleaned it, went upstairs, got light bulbs that are kept upstairs in the linen closet. Went up the 3-step ladder, went to put the bulb in and lost my balance and fell against the wash and dryer on my left side. When I got up, I felt nauseous and dizzy. So I went outside and sat in a little brick fence that's in the backyard, trying to gain my composure. And then I finally went into the house. I took some Aleve, some Excedrin.
Stop 1 second. So it would be clear and fair to say that you did not fall because the ladder broke?
No.
Because there was any imperfection in the floor?
No.
You fell because you lost your balance?
That's right.
Nobody else's fault but yours?
That's right.
Okay. Go ahead.
So since she pays me monthly, $360, she had just left that check that morning, and I never thought anything was really seriously wrong with me, and I tried to continue to work. In fact, I did continue. I finished cleaning the house, even did the laundry, very slow. Usually I leave about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. She arrived about 5 o'clock, and she asked me, "Are you still here?" And I said, "Yes, I did something foolish today. I fell and I hurt my arm. I don't know what's the matter. It really, really hurts." She quickly ran to the phone, called her sister-in-law, who I also work for, and she said, "Nita fell changing a light bulb. Do you think my home insurance will cover her if I take her to the doctor?" She said, "Okay, thank you," hung up, ran to her office, came back with some papers and said, "Yes, my home insurance does cover it, but I have to pay a $1,000 deductible, of which I will not pay." And suddenly she wasn't concerned about me anymore. And she says, "This is ridiculous." And I said, "Well, then you're not going to help me?" And she says...
So you had asked her?
Yes.
Just a second. You didn't make that clear, Miss Bayer.
I'm sorry.
So you said to her, "I finished working, but I hurt my shoulder. I want to go to the doctor. Will you pay for it?"
I didn't say, "Will you pay for it?" I asked her, "Can you help me?" That's what I said.
Well, what did you want her to do to help you?
To take to the doctor. I figured, well, since I fell in her home, that...
So you felt she was responsible?
That's right.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you, Miss Bayer, but you left that out of your story. What you made it sound like was you told her that your shoulder was hurting. Without saying another word, she went over to the phone and called her sister-in-law.
Yes.
But that's not what happened. You said, "I want to go to the doctor. Can you help me? Because you're responsible because I fell in your house." So she went to find out if that was true.
And she came back and found out that it was true.
What makes you think that if you have an accident in somebody else's home and it's your fault that they should be responsible?
Because I was under her employment at the time.
Well, that may be, but, you know, there is something that lacks common sense about that. I'm a common sense gal myself. What you told me was you fell and it was your fault.
Yes.
And you want somebody else to pay for it. That's what it comes down to. I mean, if you're taking it at face value, you may have fallen in her house. You know, I'm not necessarily saying that Miss Hall should not have assumed this responsibility. But what I'm saying to you is it doesn't flow naturally. If you fall in somebody's house and there's nothing wrong with their house, the railing isn't loose and the steps aren't uneven and there's not a slippery floor and there's no ice in the front walk, well, that shouldn't be their fault. It's your fault. You fell. That makes sense to me. The fact that most jurisdictions have superimposed some liability on the part of homeowners if they have people working in their home, that irrespective of whose fault it is, they have to take the responsibility, that's something else. But I'm just telling you, from a common sense perspective, it doesn't make sense. It makes no more sense than if you were walking down the street in front of somebody's house and there was no ice, no snow, there was nothing wrong. You were thinking about something, you fell in front of their house, and you say, "Well, I fell in front of their house, I'm going to sue them." Careful.
I was being very careful.
Well, if you
Your
were being
Honor.
very careful, the ladder didn't move by itself. And if you were being very careful, that maybe you had a pre-existing medical condition that caused you to become dizzy. Whatever it wasn't her fault. It was an accident.
Yes, it was.
It was an accident. An accident that was your fault. Not her ladder's fault, not her floor's fault, not her light bulb's fault, not her light fixture's fault. It was your fault. Now, I say this to you because what you want is more than just your medical bills paid. You want medical bills and lost earnings and lost wages. Why should she pay for that?
Because it is still an ongoing problem, Your Honor. I have proof here.
It's your ongoing problem.
That's true.
Not her ongoing problem. It's your ongoing problem. And if what you're saying is that she should have taken care of the medical bills because she didn't want to pay the deductible. Listen, she fell in your house. You know what the parameters are, right?
Yes.
That's what the law superimposes on you. I happen to think it's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense to me. But that's what the law says.
I understand that. Can I please tell you
Sure.
the side of the story that I believe to be the truth? Very
but
similar.
But let me tell you something. don't go to where you don't think that she was injured, because she's got things that she's prepared to show me that she hurt her rotator cuff when she fell.
She was injured. Where? I'm not sure, because when I came home from work that day, I put my things down, got my kids in the house as I always do, and she continued to work. And I didn't run to the phone and run to anywhere. She insisted, I'm hurting. Do you have insurance? I'm like, what? I was in shock.
Well,
and
don't
I
be in
didn't.
shock. She fell off the ladder, changing a light bulb in your house.
This is what she's telling me, okay? I don't know this. I really don't. Because
Well, you aren't home.
she kept working.
She
and
told me
she's
that.
working, and she's a hard worker. She told
me that.
is. But what I don't like is that I did not say I would not pay. She told me later on the phone, you should have just paid the $1,000. I called my insurance company to see. I said, well, I don't know if there's a deductible. I'll find out. You know, we'll take care of this. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll go to county where my husband goes. Her husband's very ill. He goes to county hospital for treatment. This is what she told me. That's why I dropped it. Later, her daughter calls me. My mother, she's going to need surgery, possibly. I'm like, what has this got to do with me?
Okay, well, that's what it has to do with you. Where are the medical bills that you paid?
Okay.
Your total medical bills so far are $1,047. I don't know what this is.
I totaled everything up, lost wages, the doctor bill.
I'm not giving you any credit for lost wages, madam.
Okay.
I believe that she should pay your medical expenses. But you were paid already for the full month when you didn't work. Is that right?
On that paper in the blue I highlighted, I deducted the $270
Well,
that
I know,
owed
but you
her.
deducted it from $3,000.
Right.
I'm deducting it from the $1,047. $777. Now, it's $777 that your insurance company's not going to pay because you have a $1,000 deductible. It's your option to have $1,000 deductible, right? You could pay more insurance and have less deductible. You choose to be a self-insurer for the first $1,000. Are you following me? You look at me like I'm talking another language.
No.
Right, but you got it, right?
I got it.
You got it. You owe her $777. Sounds to me it's fair and reasonable. I don't think you're responsible for the fact that she's not working. And you haven't worked since November?
No, I haven't.
Well, who knows when you're going to be able to go back to work?
Well, that's why I was asking for the lost wages to cover the existing bills that
She's
it
not
had.
responsible for your negligence.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $777. That's all. Thank you.
Party is excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I fell on her premises, and I felt like she was responsible, which obviously she was.
Yeah, this is case number 251 on the calendar in the matter of Bosworth versus Bosworth. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mrs. Bosworth, this is your former husband.
Yes, ma'am.
You have 2 children together, and it is your claim that he is responsible for having you falsely arrested after an incident that involved one of your children who was 18.
Yes.
Mr. Bosworth says that you caused the whole incident yourself.
Correct.
Now, you were married when?
In 1988.
And when were you divorced?
97, ma'am.
Who had primary physical custody of the children in 1997?
I did.
And how often did their father spend time with them?
Not that often, ma'am.
How often, Mr. Bosworth, did you visit with your children starting in 1997?
It varied. It usually was once a week.
Usually. Sometimes you skipped a week?
Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on my work schedule.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm a police officer right now.
How long have you been a police officer?
Since 1999.
And did you have a reasonable relationship with your former wife?
No, my relationship with my former wife has been hostile and unreasonable.
Okay. Now, I tried to piece together from your complaint and from your answer what transpired on, what date this happened?
July 24th of 05.
And I gather that you had an argument with your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
The argument was about?
Her not cleaning her room.
Had that been a problem?
Yes, all weekend I had asked her to clean her room, Friday and Saturday. Sunday, her room was still a mess. She constantly was on the telephone, and at that point, I removed the cell phone. I told her until she was to clean the room, that cell phone was not going to be given back to her.
Now, this is the problem. Mr. Bosworth.
Yes.
Your former wife takes the telephone away from her daughter, who has not followed a house direction. So far, correct?
Correct.
And as far as I'm concerned, so far, her prerogative. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
So your daughter calls you on the phone and says to you, she took my phone away.
No.
Well, tell me what happened, sir, that brought you over to the house that day.
I originally got the phone from my daughter.
I don't care. Don't give me any stories about giving the phone to a teenage daughter. How did you come over to the house that day, Mr. Bosworth?
I had gotten tired of not being able to contact my daughter via the cell phone. Therefore, I went to the house that day. On July 24th of 05.
July 24th, you tried to contact your daughter.
Yes.
And you couldn't.
Correct.
Go ahead.
So the phone was in my name. I purchased the phone for her use. Therefore, I wanted the phone back because if my daughter's not going to be able to use it...
Mr. Bosworth, you're skipping a step, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And don't skip a step with me.
What step would you like me to begin at, Judge?
I want to know when you found out that your former wife had taken the phone away from your daughter.
I had called that day, and my daughter had told me...
That's right.
...that she had taken the phone again.
So, you went over there because you wanted your phone back.
Correct.
Wrong! 125% wrong. Your daughter complained to you that her mother took the phone, and you went over there and stuck your nose in where it didn't belong. Because while your daughter is living under her mother's roof, her mother owns the air she breathes.
Okay.
And if you gave your daughter a phone to use, you don't get in between that sort of discipline between her and her daughter. You interfered with discipline for the person who has primary physical custody of the two children. She ignored her mother's direction for 3 days, and her mother said, listen, I'm tired of seeing you sitting on the phone for 3 days while I asked you to clean up the room that's in my house that I pay for. So give me the phone. You come and say, it's not your phone. You give me the phone.
Correct.
That was the wrong thing
Bloodlust.
to do, sir. Now, did you call the police, sir?
When I went to retrieve the phone, my ex-wife slammed the door in my face and refused
Because
to give...
you came in and said, what did you say, Mr. Bosworth?
I asked my ex-wife...
What did you say? Don't ask me.
If she would give me the phone back.
What did he say, Miss Bosworth? That's not what you said.
Where the F is my phone?
That sounds right, Mr. Bosworth.
That's very...
That sounds right, Mr. Bosworth, because how far do you live?
About 5-10 minutes from her house.
And what were you doing when you called your daughter and said, I can't get in touch with you?
I was just hanging around the house, I believe.
And what time of the day or evening was it?
Early evening. Sometime
And your
after
family
4.
was home?
I believe so.
And you have wife?
Yes.
You have children?
Not with my current wife, no.
She has children?
Yes.
That live with you?
Yes, at the time.
Good. So now you have a wife and children, and you get up and you leave them to go over and retrieve your cell phone. So my sense of that, sir, is that you were annoyed, especially since you indicated to me briefly a moment ago that it's not the first time she's taken away the phone, right?
Correct.
So you were really annoyed this time. And when you got there, you want me to believe, Mr. Bosworth, that you said to your former wife, may I please have my phone back? That's what you want me to believe you said?
Your Honor, I am not a loud person. I'm not a violent person.
I don't say you're loud or violent, sir. I'm asking you if you want me to believe that you knocked at the door and said, I'd like my phone back.
I'm not hostile to the point in her own home. I am very respectful of her in her own home as well as my children in her own home.
You know, sir, I know you've been a police officer for almost 10 years. I've been sitting here for almost 30. Some things make sense and some things don't make sense. What doesn't make sense is why somebody would get in their car in the evening, leave their family, and go over to their former wife's home where there had been a dispute with an adult child, because she's 18 years old, and there was no indication that her mother had beat her, had tied her to a radiator, had stripped her down and throttled her with a belt. She took away her cell phone because she was being disrespectful. You left your family, you went over there, and you caused a problem.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, you did. Did you call the police?
Before the problem...
Did you call the police?
Yes, I did.
Because you didn't get your cell phone?
Because I didn't want a problem with my ex-wife.
Slam the door. Mr. Bosworth, you're not following me, sir. If you think that you're right, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. And I'm usually very, very respectful of police officers because I think that they do a very tough job. You abused your position as a police officer by calling the police to go over there and retrieve a cell phone.
At that time...
They have better things to do than to deal with your ego.
Bloodlust.
They have people to protect. And if you wanted your cell phone back, all you have to do is you call and you say to the cell phone company, I'm discontinuing the service on this cell phone. That's it. And you tell your daughter, listen, you want to live with your mother? You got to live with her rules. I'm not interfering with that. You chose to interfere with it, and you made a big to-do over nothing. And if you feel as if you're being dressed down today, you are. You are being dressed down because you did the wrong thing. That doesn't mean that you have a case, Miss Bosworth. That means that he behaved badly.
Yes.
So far.
Yes.
Bloodlust.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Judge Judy. Maria Bosworth claims ex-husband, police officer Anthony Bosworth Sr., had her falsely arrested for child
Bloodlust.
abuse. Anthony says Maria got herself arrested.
What kind of community do you live in? How big a town?
About 150,000 citizens.
And how many police officers for 150,000 citizens?
350 to 400. I might add that at the time of the incident, I was not a police officer. Laid off in 2003 and reinstated at the beginning of this year.
So you were a police officer. So these were people that you knew.
Not personally,
These
no.
were people that you knew and that knew that you were a police officer.
Yes.
Otherwise, you know what they would have said to you if they called up and said, "I'm going to my ex-wife's house to get my cell phone back"? They would have said to you, "Don't get us involved with this, Mr. Bosworth. You want your cell phone back? Go to civil court." But because they were covering for you, they reported and took people
Bloodlust.
away from important business to deal with your ego. Outrageous. Okay, so what happened when the police got there?
He had called me on the phone and was rude and belligerent, and I hung up the phone. That's why he got to my house so quickly, because he was upset that I hung up, because I was not going to tolerate him being disrespectful on the phone. When he got to my door, he rang the bell excessively. I would say 20 to 30 times. And when I got to the door, I slammed the door.
Bloodlust.
I told him, "You don't know what's going on. You need not to meddle." He never asked me what had occurred for me to remove the cell phone from my daughter. So at that point, I went back to baking as I was. I realized I needed some additional spices.
Bloodlust.
I left, and Mr. Bosworth's outside, and he said, "Where are you going? The police are on their way." I looked at him, and I said, "You entertain them. I feel that I didn't do nothing wrong for the police to be at my home."
Absolutely right.
I got in my van, and I proceeded to back up. The officer came, and he acknowledged Mr. Bosworth. He said, "Hello, Boz." And my ex-husband said, "She's about to pull out." The officer said, "No,
Bloodlust.
she's not. Pull that van forward." At that point, I complied. He put his cruiser behind my van. The officer got out, went to Mr. Bosworth, shook his hand. They gave a hug, and they started talking. I went.
Put your hand down, sir.
I went right up
Bloodlust.
to my daughter, Your Honor. She was outside as well. And I pulled my hand on her arm, and I said, "Come here." Having Daddy and the police here doesn't change the rules in there. Mr. Bosworth, that I heard him tell Officer, "Get her away from
Bloodlust.
her." My daughter at this point was crying uncontrollably. This girl, all she wanted was her cell phone, and his intention was to get it out of my hand and put it in her hand, undermine my authority. This is why my kids don't respect me.
Got it. At what point were you arrested?
I would say a half hour
Bloodlust.
later. At this point, my daughter was crying. The officer kept on grabbing me, and I have photos, Your Honor, of what he did to my arm, his buddy. This is not from the shacks. This is actually from him holding me. And I kept on telling the officer, "Please let go. You're hurting me." And he kept on grabbing. I said, "You're hurting me. Let go. What's your
Bloodlust.
problem?" He got in my face, and he said, "Get your effing in the house, or I'm going to find many reasons to arrest you." So at this point, I said, "Let go. You're hurting me." And he kept on squeezing tighter. So I did go in the home. My daughter was pressed on time. She left crying uncontrollably with her boyfriend. Mr. Bosworth and this officer stayed in front of my house for a good 15 minutes. And I couldn't figure out
Bloodlust.
why are they still there. And I went inside of the garage, Your Honor, to listen. And I heard Mr. Bosworth tell him how of a B I am of an ex-wife, and that mentally and physically I abused my children.
I want to know at what point you were arrested.
At this point, I decided to go in my backyard. I thought the matter was over. They were just talking. I was hoping to God that they'd just
Bloodlust.
leave. And I was in the backyard. This officer opened my gate, and it's a 6-foot tall gate. And he came and he said, "Where's his phone?" I said, "I don't have his phone." This officer said, "You're lying." At this point, the officer called me a liar. I said, "Sir, I'm not comfortable with you because you know my ex-husband. I want a supervisor." My cordless phone was right there where I was on my deck. I got my cordless phone, and I pressed 9, and I attempted to dial for a supervisor. He came around, handcuffed me so quickly, I couldn't even tell you how he put the cuffs on me.
Listen, Miss Bosworth, why didn't you sue the police department?
My wait until the matter was over, and in June of this year, 06, it was over. I did file charges.
And the case was dismissed?
Yes. He never showed up in court, Your Honor.
Good thing. But is your attorney filing a lawsuit against the police department?
We are in the process.
That's exactly what you should do.
Yes.
Him too. Him too. Outrageous conduct, sir. Outrageous abuse of your power. Let me see the police report.
If you look at the police report, it was not my actions that caused her to get arrested.
Oh, listen to me, sir. Listen to me, sir. I know exactly what happened, sir. I want to see what the police officer wrote down in this police report. Not necessarily that I believe it. I just want to read it. Outrageous. Your conduct is outrageous, Mr. Bosworth. I'm amazed that you're a peace officer. Officers were dispatched to assist a subject in retrieving his cell phone.
And they know him.
Where is your daughter now, Miss Bosworth?
She's in college in Georgia.
Is this her first year in college?
Yes, ma'am.
Graduated from high school with reasonable grades?
3.2.
And she got the 3.2 living in your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Not living with her father?
No, ma'am.
I'm speaking. Not living with her father?
Never.
Who filled out her applications with her?
I did.
Not her father?
No.
Father gives her cell phones?
Oh, yeah.
Maria Bosworth is accusing her ex-husband, police officer Anthony Bosworth Sr., of using his authority to have her falsely arrested.
Miss Bosworth, listen to me carefully, madam. The fact that your former husband exercised the poorest of judgment does not make your case actionable against him. The fact that he abused his power as a police officer, despite the fact that he'd been a laid-off police officer, calling the police. And you lied to me, by the way, when you said you didn't know these officers. The police officer said that he knows you. Abused his power. That's also not actionable. He has the right to come over to your house. He also has the right to call the police. They have the right to hang up on him and say, you know, go to civil court, as in their protocol for most things that have to do with property. They chose not to do that in this case. And in my view, that is actionable on your part, civilly, against the police department, not necessarily against him.
He instructed the officer to arrest me if I didn't give the cell phone. If I gave the cell phone, I would never got arrested.
I never instructed any police officer
They
to
told
take
me
action.
down at the police station.
Your Honor.
Just a second, sir. You know, officer.
No, I do not, personally.
Well, he says
We were partners.
the above, a male known to the officer.
All officers know each other's names, especially laid-off officers at that time.
Well, sir, what I'm saying to you is,
He knew I
very
was a police
easy,
officer, yes.
very, very
Bloodlust.
easy for you to resolve that, sir. You could have brought officer with you as a witness.
I tried to get both officers to come as a witness, and they both told me they didn't want anything to do with this woman.
I wouldn't either, because I got to tell you something.
As well as the witnesses that were there, her neighbors, they didn't want anything to do with this. They wrote statements. They showed me pictures of her past
Your
incidences.
Honor, listen to me, sir.
May I ask-
Miss Bosworth, I want to say something.
Yes.
He did the wrong thing. I think that in 1,000 years, he never expected to come here today and be dressed down. Never expected to be dressed down, because nobody has told him he was wrong, except you. And he doesn't believe you because he thinks you're nutty. I'm prepared to tell him that he's wrong, that he did absolutely 100% the wrong thing that day in July.
Thank you. May I add something, Your Honor?
No, it's not necessary.
It's important.
Okay.
My attorney tried to subpoena the 911 call. There was never a 911 call. He called officer on his personal cell phone. He knows he has the section of my city. My attorney...
Just a second. Eventually, it proceeds to a civil lawsuit against the city, which I assume it will, and I assume it should. They can't doctor 911 calls dating back to July.
Your Honor.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Was there a 911 call?
No, there was not. I called the police non-emergency line to ask for an assist to prevent a breach of the peace. Therefore, they determined which officer would show up.
Just a second. You called a non-emergency number that takes you right into the police station.
The dispatch
That
center,
takes you
yes.
right into the police station.
Yes.
I got it.
Not directly.
I got it. No,
Bloodlust.
I got it. I got it. Where is that number published?
In the yellow pages. Yeah, yellow pages of the phone book.
Not a 911 number, though.
No, ma'am.
No. So that peace officers know how to get in touch with that number, right?
Every citizen should know that.
No, I don't. We have a large audience here. I want you to raise your hands, please, if any of you know the non-emergency number to get to your local police precinct in order to have a car dispatched. Raise your hand. Look at this.
Ma'am, it's in the phone book.
Look, I don't care if it's in the phone book. You just said to me every citizen should know the number.
They should.
Look at these. These are intelligent people. I don't know the number, and you're not going to find anybody more intelligent than me when it comes to law enforcement, Mr. Bosworth.
I believe you, Your Honor.
The case against him is dismissed. But I wish that I were the judge presiding over the case against the police department where
What
you
about the
live.
mental anguish I suffered according
Listen, you picked him. You picked him. But your lawsuit is a valid one. He exercised poor judgment that day. Poor judgment is not compensated in this way. But the police department have a duty to act responsibly. They have a duty, and they acted not only irresponsibly, but there is no question that they responded to that location because of who he was, and they did
Bloodlust.
absolutely the wrong thing. It was a non-violent situation when they were asked to come to help retrieve a cell phone, and I absolutely believe you when you say that the police officer came back and said to you, now I want the cell phone. That, sir, is a civil matter. Clear? Goodbye.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The mental anguish that I have gone through over this matter is unbelievable.
For the past 15 years, it's been a pain.
It was pretty intense.
I'm done with my ex-wife. I had nothing to do with it.
I hope he leaves me alone. If I never see Mr. Bosworth, my life is fine.
You and Mr. Young had a relationship, and you have 2 children.
Yes, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, the 2 of you separated sometime in 2004.
Yes, Your Honor.
At that time, there were 2 vehicles in your household.
Yes, ma'am.
You kept one, and according to you, continued to make the payments on it, made
Yes,
all the
ma'am.
payments on it. And Mr. Young kept one. It is your claim that Mr. Young took your vehicle without your permission 2 years later.
Yes, ma'am.
And in the vehicle was some personal property. of
Bloodlust.
yours. You managed to get the vehicle back with the help of the authorities. The property was missing. You want the value of the property or the property. Mr. Young says that when you separated in 2004, he allowed you to borrow his truck because you needed a vehicle. He expected you to return it to him at some point when you were able to afford to get your own vehicle. You didn't do that, but instead, according to Mr. Young, sometime in 2005, you left your home, or the jurisdiction where you were living, without notifying him and the truck to a different state. He was able to locate you, he retrieved his truck, and he is counterclaiming because he says that when you took the truck back, you did so against his wishes, that the truck actually belongs to him and he wants it back.
Correct.
Okay. When in
Bloodlust.
2004 did you separate, Ms. Fennell?
January, Your Honor.
And it was an amicable separation?
No, ma'am.
Did you leave him or did he leave you?
I left him, Your Honor.
And where were you living at the time? In what state?
Missouri.
And you maintained a home together with the defendant in Missouri?
Yes, Your Honor.
For how long?
2 years,
Bloodlust.
approximately.
How old were
Your
you?
3 years.
We actually purchased a house back in 2001.
Just a second. You purchased a house together in 2001?
No, ma'am.
I purchased a house in my name solely, and in 2001.
And you lived there with him?
Yes, ma'am.
So you lived there with him for 3 years?
Bloodlust.
Now, you left him, and when you left him, you took one of the trucks. Now, in whose name was the truck that you took?
Both of ours.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you left him a truck when you left?
No, I loaned her the truck. Okay.
You had what?
I had the car.
You had the car. What kind of car did you have?
It was a 95 Ford Aspire.
Now, when you left in 2004, you
Bloodlust.
remained in Missouri until when?
February of 2005, Your Honor.
And where did you go in February of 2005?
Kansas.
Who lives in Kansas?
My fiance.
Between January of 2004 and February of
Bloodlust.
2005, Mr. Young, did you see your children?
Yes, I did. I seen him all the way up until April.
April of?
2004. Or
2005.
2005.
Well, if she moved in February of 2005, where did you see them in April? In Kansas?
Actually, she met me 3 times, I do believe, with my kids when I'd get off work. And I'd actually pick them up and take them to my place.
Bloodlust.
After that.
So you did see them in April of 2005 after she moved to Kansas?
Actually, yes, I did.
Just answer the question.
Yes, I did.
I'm trying to get a timeline from you, sir. I read your answer. I'm trying to figure out what happened. So, when she moved, you continued to see the children.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
So you knew she was moving. Answer. Don't think about what you wrote.
No.
Don't think about how it's going to look. Just answer Mr. Young the questions, because if you give me a dishonest answer, I guarantee you it's going to be a very sorry afternoon for you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand that.
So, if you saw the children up until April of 2005, then you knew she was moving.
Actually, I did not. I did not.
I don't want you to speak until I ask you a question. Do
Okay.
you understand?
I understand, Your Honor.
Perfect. Go ahead.
I actually did not know that she moved because, like I said, she would meet me right around the surroundings of where I worked.
You mean between January of 2004 when she left, when you separated, and April of 2000, listen to my question,
Okay.
don't get the wheels moving. Between January of 2004 when she left and April of 2005, the routine was you would meet at some central location and
Bloodlust.
exchange the children.
Correct.
So you didn't know that she moved to Kansas because she brought the children to the same location all the time?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Don't say yes unless it's true.
Yes.
When did you find out that she moved to Kansas?
In the end of April.
How did you find out?
I would call her cell phone to get my kids, and she answered one day and said that I wasn't going to see the kids no more.
Really?
Really.
Why did you say that, Miss Fennell?
I didn't, Your Honor.
What did you say? If he was seeing the children from January of 2004 until April of 2005, and I believe him, something happened in April of 2005.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell me what it was?
He was seeing the children
Bloodlust.
sporadically, once every 2 or 3 months, and I actually...
No, don't speak now.
And, at Easter, before Easter, and asked him if he would like to see the children. At that time, he told me no. My fiance and I went and bought the children Easter baskets, and when Mr. Young called me the day before Easter and told me that, yes, he did want to have the kids, and I
Bloodlust.
said, okay, that's fine. And he did. And then, as usual, I called him the next weekend, and the next weekend, and the next weekend, and asked him if he would be using his visitation, and he would tell me, no, he was working, and he didn't
Don't
have
put your
time.
hands up.
Then in June, on Father's Day, I called Mr. Young once again and asked him if he would like to have his children on Father's Day. And he made the comment to me, well, it's Father's Day, isn't that my day off? And I said, look.
So are you telling me between April, Easter, when he had the children for the day,
Yes, ma'am.
and Father's Day,
No contact, Your Honor.
he did not call
No, ma'am.
the children?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
did you call your children between April, Easter, when you had the children? Because I believe her that she gave you the children on Easter and Father's Day. Did you contact your children?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Tell me how.
I tried to contact her through a cell phone.
What do you mean you tried?
I would call her, and she either wouldn't answer my call, and eventually she shut her phone off completely.
I'm talking about between April and June.
No, I never did get to see my kids in that time because she was holding them from me.
Did you go to court, sir, between April and June, like May 1st, for visitation?
We actually had a court order on visitations of the kids March 1st of 04 until March 1st of 05. It was just a one-year visitation deal.
I never heard of a one-year visitation deal.
It only lasted 1 year
Bloodlust.
because it was the result of an abuse stalking order that I had against Mr. Young.
I see. So there was an order of visitation that was made part of a protective order.
Yes, ma'am.
But there was no formal order of visitation other than that which was contained
That's
in the
correct,
protective order, which expired in March.
Bloodlust.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So I'm coming back to you, Mr. Young. When you didn't see your children in May, and according to you, you couldn't reach their mother, did you go to court to seek visitation with your children?
No, I could not.
Why not?
Bloodlust.
Because I couldn't afford an attorney.
You don't need an attorney to go to court, Mr. Young. You go to your local family court and you tell the clerk, I want to file an order of visitation for my children. Question is, did you go to court? The
No.
answer is no.
No.
If the father is interested in seeing their children regularly, they go to court. That's what they do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Judge Judy. Tricia Fennell claims the father of her children, Chad Young, refuses to sign over a Dodge Ram truck. Chad is countersuing for the return of the truck.
Is this your fiancée wife?
Yes, it is.
What is it?
It's
Fiancé?
my wife.
Your wife? When were you married?
July 29th of this year.
Bloodlust.
Did you buy her an engagement ring?
What's that?
Did you buy her an engagement ring?
Yes, I did.
How much you spent for it?
Like $300?
Have you been to court since, sir,
No.
to file for visitation with your children?
No.
Well, before I'd buy an engagement ring,
Bloodlust.
Mr. Young, if you need the advice of a lawyer, I would spend $300 an hour for a lawyer and get some advice to file for visitation for my children. Mr.
See,
Young.
I have
Mr. Young.
Bloodlust.
That's what I would do.
Everybody I've talked to has told me that I had to hire an attorney to have anything else done.
Who told you that? The butcher?
Child support?
No, let me ask you. The butcher?
No.
Courts cannot, sir, require you to have an attorney in order to see your children. It might be easier
Bloodlust.
for you, but it would certainly be worth an hour of a lawyer's time
Oh, I totally agree with you.
Good. So I would have saved the $300 on an engagement ring and gone to see a lawyer if I didn't see my children. So my sympathy for you is getting to be this much, where it was this much when I read your answer. You understand me?
Yes.
When I read your answer, it appeared as if she removed the children. You didn't see the children after that, but that's not true. You did see the children. She moved in February. You saw the children in February and March and April. She continued to bring them to a location so that you could see them, take them for visitation, until your life got a little busy. How much child support have you paid for your children in the last 2 years? Is not an answer.
I have not paid in the last year for some
In the
reason, I
last
don't know.
year?
Usually it comes out of my check, and they quit taking it out of my check.
Well, just a
You
second.
changed
What? Shut
jobs.
up! What'd you think the children were eating from the last year?
Bloodlust.
What do you mean?
I don't know. So my sympathy for you is that much. Now, at some point, sir, you took this truck back that was in joint names.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because she posted a deal on the internet saying that she had a chance to forge my signature on the title.
You didn't need the truck. You'd been without it for well over a year. It was in joint names. You had a car, she had a truck. You'd lived together for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the big deal?
Because I've paid almost everything on that truck.
Well, show me. Show me that you've paid almost
Bloodlust.
everything on the truck. Let me see. And at the same time, Ms. Fennell, I'd like you to show me that you paid whatever you paid on the truck.
Your Honor, this is a statement from the bank saying that the loan was in solely my name. These are the payments that I made. This is my payoff date there at the bottom. This is saying that I paid the taxes on the vehicle.
I don't care taxes. Don't tell me taxes. Not interested in taxes.
I have a receipt from the bank here for my final payment.
Well, just a second. How did you pay them?
I went to the bank and asked them if I could get that proof, and they said because it had been so long that they could do that, but they would have to charge me $30 per hour for their manpower in it. And this is also the payment book, Your Honor, that I have to take to the bank and get initialed every payment that was made.
Just a second. Take this back, because I have absolutely no interest in this piece of what it's not evidence. It's nonsense.
You got anything?
The only thing that I have is I ain't got no proof of how the truck got paid.
You don't have any proof.
No, all I got is...
Look at me. You don't have any proof.
I mean, besides my pay, how much I was making back then.
I don't care what you were making back then.
Because I asked the bank the same thing also, and that's what they told me.
Okay. Mr. Young, now I have a document that indicates that these payments were made starting in January of 04 through February of 05. Now, I would like you to show me proof that you made payments, sir.
Like I said, I couldn't get the documents from my bank because of they couldn't go back that far. Because I tried getting a printout of like my whole checking account back then, and they don't have that on.
This looks as if after she took the truck, she made the payments.
Right. That was.
Listen to me. After she took the truck, she made the payments. Put your hand down, Miss Fiancée. You have nothing to say.
I'm his wife, Your Honor.
Put your hand down, Miss Wife. You have nothing to say.
I also have evidence that Mr. Young signed his name off of the title of my truck and a notarized gift affidavit from Mr. Young that he did at the bank, Your Honor.
Let me see the notarized. I just want to see the notarized document from him.
Your Honor, that I don't. That's.
This was made while.
That is a false document.
So you're accusing the notary here of a felony. Is that right, Mr. Young?
Yes, I am.
Just listen to me.
Yes, I am.
Just a minute. I just want to make sure, because I want to tell you something. By saying that, Mr. Young, if what you're saying is not true, and you are accusing in front of 10 million people, put down your papers! And you are accusing the notary public who put her commission seal on this document of committing a felony. I want to tell you that you are exposing yourself to substantial liability. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And understanding that is what you're telling me, that the person who subscribed their seal to this document, which purportedly took your signature on a gift affidavit, committed perjury. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Bloodlust.
Mr. Young?
I've got the actual...
That would be a big
Yes, I've
mistake.
actually been talking to an attorney from...
Just a second. You've actually been talking to an attorney about what, sir? No.
About this forgery.
You've actually...
Yes.
Just a second. Where did you get an attorney to talk to about the forgery? On a 10-year-old truck, you've been talking to a lawyer about the forgery?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Did you have to pay the lawyer?
No.
No. When you happen to have been there talking to the lawyer about your truck and the forgery, did you happen to ask the lawyer about visitation with
Yes,
your children?
Yes, I sure did.
Really? I
Yes,
finally
I did.
got there. Now, the reason you went to see the lawyer, and by the way, when did you go to see the lawyer?
It was about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. And when was the last time you saw your children?
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So let's see what happened. You bought your wife an engagement ring, and she looks like she's well cared for. And you didn't get to see a lawyer until 3 weeks ago, Mr. Young.
Bloodlust.
No, I've actually spoke to many lawyers when she did leave.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Well, that's a revelation, sir. You didn't tell me that before. Tell me when you spoke to a lawyer the first time about visitation.
The first time that she told me that she didn't want the kids in my life no more.
And when was that?
It was right after April in 2005. And
That's so interesting, Mr. Young. You told me that people told you that you needed a lawyer to go to court. Why didn't you go to court?
Because nobody told me any different. They always said that I needed to go hire an attorney because there had been a paternity action done.
Okay, I got the drift of who everybody is. I got it. All comes together. Now, what items do you allege were in the truck when he took the truck? Because he went and took the truck and you ultimately got it
He's
back.
actually returned all of my items with the exception of one child's Game Boy.
One child's Game Boy? So
Yes.
what do you want?
What
do you want?
Actually, those were put in the paperwork before I maintained possession of the truck and my property again. So that's...
Okay, so you're withdrawing your claim?
Yes, ma'am.
You're
For the
withdrawing your
possessions.
claim?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So now all we have is a counterclaim.
Right. I want her to sign her name off the title.
That's not going to happen because she paid for it. So she's not signing her name off the title. So you and your wife are just going to have to get along with your car.
Did she pay $16,000 for that truck?
I want to tell you something. You came here for judgment, and my judgment is that the affidavit of gift that she has signed and notarized is an affidavit that I'm prepared to accept, and that you made a gift to her of this truck, and that subsequent to your separation, she made the payments on it, and she brought the children to visit you with the children in your truck, and but for the fact that maybe you're being prodded by Miss Wife over here, we wouldn't be here today on your counterclaim. You get me? Do you get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Your counterclaim is dismissed. I would suggest that if you want to see your children, you pursue that with an attorney as viciously as you pursued getting back this 10-year-old truck. Anybody can be a father, sir, because it's very easy to make a baby. Put your hand down. What do you want him to do, sign that?
I would like him to sign the title.
Absolutely. Bird, he's going to sign that document. Tell him where to put his X.
And, ma'am, I also have charges.
Once you sign that, Mr. Young, I will be finished with you.
Your signature of seller. Right there.
Now, as far as the Game Boy is concerned, or any other nonsense that was in your truck?
No, ma'am. There are other things. We had to have the ignition replaced because we didn't have a key. There's damage to the truck when I got it back.
Get over it. Okay. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You have your truck.
Yes, ma'am.
You have your responsibilities. You live up to your responsibilities, and you'll get a little more sympathy from a court. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's a gold digger. She took off with his kids and his truck 2 years ago.
I think she's maybe a little jealous.
Shacked up with the guy that she was cheating on my husband with.
I don't care to
Bloodlust. 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 Archaic. Archaic. Bloodlust. Archaic. Bloodlust. 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 Dart. Bloodlust. 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 Bloodlust.